Speedrunning, the act of doing something or some things as fast as possible. Often with a timer involved. Most things in life can be speedrun. It all depends on how much you can get away with. For instance, if I were you, I'd often think twice before speedrunning going from point A to point B in a car, especially when traffic tickets are the second easiest thing to catch in a car besides mileage. Particular to this recording, video games. And for what I hope to be a valid reason. The main way for people to speedrun through video games is with glitches and tricks. These days, video games are rushed out the door so quickly that, given all the technology we have these days, anything can be fixed, or at least addressed, with a simple patch. And who doesn't love day one patches? Who doesn't find those frustrating? Besides maybe the developers themselves. Back in the old days, people had to carefully build their games, because uploading changes came in the form of 1.1 release. That means, in order to see the changes, people had to go out there and get another copy of the game. And the only way to find out about this was by word of mouth or magazine. So suffice to say, developers were, overall, a little more careful about how they made their games. But glitches are still a natural part of software. And so whether in a day or a decade, people have managed to find crazy ways of breaking the original intended function of the software. And in terms of video games, that's what we're looking at in this video. For reference, a glitch pertaining to software is a malfunction or misfunction resulting in undesirable, unintended, or otherwise unwanted behavior. In the sense of speedrunning video games, these glitches, once found and deemed useful in the speedrun itself, result as intended by the speedrunners themselves. They finish the game faster. For anyone wondering, there are two games in particular I'm going to look over in this video. That is, the PS1 versions of Spyro 2 and 3. And this is for what I hope to be a valid reason. Showstoppers. That is, an event or obstacle that less cannot be easily overcome, more cannot be overcome in the first place. An event or obstacle that cannot be surpassed, overcome, completed, triumphed over, or otherwise beaten, pertaining to speedrunning in a timely manner. While some glitches and tricks are easy to perform, others are quite the opposite. Some things might require practice, but others simply require information, and the latter is what makes these glitches showstoppers. That is, practice isn't the problem, I'm just missing information. Such information I once sought out directly from the community, but that after constantly failing to produce results for them, had taught them better than to bother in the first place. And to briefly segue with a footnote, it is very much just me. So here it is. The Spyro 2 glitch showcase and explanation, ending with the showstopper. When you press X, you jump. When you press square, you charge. You can also charge while in the air. But there's a little something developers unintentionally left in. They didn't notice that if you jumped and then charged before moving, you would get additional air time. You would move directly upwards. This is used to get out of bounds, but it doesn't work against everything. It doesn't work against high walls, and it doesn't work against invisible walls. Furthermore, if you aren't careful with this, you can in fact soft lock. Now, that last one was more of a trick than a glitch. This one I can actually do. This one I can actually perform. When you are on the ground, where you can glide, when you have an actual flame, you are in a dry land state. When you dive in water, when you can't breathe fire, when sparks is noticeably encased in a bubble, and the only way you can harm anything is by charging, you are in an underwater state. So, what happens when you are in an underwater state on dry land? See this water? How it undulates up and down? It just about meets the edge of land here. So instead of diving directly downward by pressing square alone and continuously running into a wall, if at its highest point I try to dive while moving forward. Or instead, enter a diving animation, but not completely dive through a plane of water, a plane that tells the game to put in an underwater state. I'm not underwater. I'm on dry land, but in an underwater state. So I am treated as swimming, but in air. Swimming in air. Swimming air. In this state, if you have a super flame, it'll be the underwater version. But that poses a big problem. Do not break or destroy anything on dry land with an underwater super flame, or you will crash the game. Now, what use does this have? You can see it looks like a little stick jutting into the ground. That is a pit leading to Crush's dungeon. We want to get there. Most speedrunners would usually get there with just one talisman. Everyone else would need all 6 in order to get there otherwise. In a case like mine, 3. And this is for a reason I will explain later. On the way there is one more thing I have to explain. Locked portals. Take this portal for instance. You can't see it, but it is locked. When portals are locked, they are stored directly under their arches. When you unlock them, they rise to fit into their arches. If you enter a locked portal this way, you will lose your swimming air state. If you enter any portal, you will lose your swimming air state. So, on the way to this very welcoming pit, by the way, do not fly under any portals, especially if they are locked. And then there's this. If you're not careful, you can soft lock here. That door needs to be open in order for you to get the orb normally. If that door, these 2 doors can never be opened at the same time. So if you toggle the doors and manage to clip your way in here, you will soft lock and have to reload your save file. Walls in this game are one-ways. They only work on the visible side. Once you clip through a wall, once you go through a wall, on its invisible side, on its not textured side, you will clip back in front of it. There's also this giant wall here. You can in fact double jump over this wall to get into Aquarior Towers, but it's not advised, because you will never be able to get back out. And Moneybags building Paywall is the only one who can lower the wall. You can't double jump your way out of this. Those aren't windows, those are invisible walls. The gate here is already open because I already accessed Crush's dungeon before. But normally, it would be very much closed. And it will not open unless you have 6 talismans. the showstopper. I can't swim near my way out of this one. The edge of water is not close enough to the edge of the land for me to pull off what I did before. What in particular? My guy standing there tells me I haven't bought the ability to climb ladders yet. We need that to climb up. Unless you're a speedrunner. The first step is to get on top of this portal, which requires gliding along, double jumping, and then gliding along the wall until you land on top of the portal. You can't do this from anywhere, you have to be close enough. Too close, and you will hit the side of the portal. Too far away, and you will never land on top of it. I'm not going to get this in one shot. Or 3, or 5, or 50. It is an eventuality, which is part of the showstopper itself. This has to be done in one shot. One. Only one. I'm going to mess up this next part, and it's going to stop right here. There's double jumping, then there's nudge jumping. When you double jump, you enter a flopping animation. That flop is the final part, the last bit of momentum, the last bit of upward height you're going to get. When you run and stop, you slide. You need that forward momentum to make that wall. You will never be able to make it in any other way. Too far away, you can actually go back and try again. Too close, but you miss up the jump, you fall all the way back down and have to start from the very beginning. I just realized, after the nudge jump, after a double jump, and you begin flopping, immediately press forward. Remember that. Immediately press forward. Immediately press forward. I'll test it out after I run out of lives. I will test that out after I run out of lives. They really should explain this stuff. Okay. See that small section of roofing over there? That long section of roofing between the two towers here? You want to land behind it, not in front of it. If you land in front of it, or if you land on the roofing to the left, you will fall back down. You will slip and fall. Do not land anywhere besides behind it. Behind this long section of roofing here. Double jump, and if you have to, hover. Let's do it. Double jump. Hover. It was bare, but we made it. Okay, now what? That platform over there. We need to double jump or we're not going to make it. Double jump and glide. There we go. I'd go any higher, but the camera won't cooperate. You can actually land on this section of roofing up here. Just not that section here. It's too steep. You can also land over there. That's where we're going. You cannot land behind it, you will fall. You also cannot walk on this section of roofing, as I was just reminded. So now, we need to double jump and land on that section of roofing. We can't trust anywhere else. Let's double jump from here. You can double jump to get up there if you have to. Because clearly that middle section is slippery. Be careful. You have to double jump and fall over the other side, which requires moving. So, double jump, then move. Remember that. Double jump, flop, and then move. Double jump and then move before the flop. You may have to curve it a little. Okay. Make sure Zoe zaps you here. Why? This whirlpool will tell us more. I mean, whirlwind. In the distance, you can see a platform over there that you couldn't otherwise reach. Aim your glide, double jump if you have to, but do not adjust afterwards, because the more you adjust, the less distance you'll get. I'm being very frugal about my adjustments here. That's the only way to get this orb. And now we death abuse. Since Zoe zapped us, we spawn back up here instead of at the very beginning. And we need this. This is another whirlwind. Dodge it on your way down by jumping down this corner here. I'm only going to say this once. Do not run. You're looking behind another wall, but not just any wall, a breakable wall. If you run, you will risk breaking it. But why is this important? We need that wall, but why? Back there is the gate to Gulp. We need to clip out of bounds. As I just explained, we can't swim and air our way out of this, because again, No edge of water meets the edge of land. We can't fly around. This whole thing's on top of a mountain. It's one giant wall. The only thing we can do is clip very carefully. If we nudge ourselves to the point of falling behind the breakable wall, but still inside the raised flooring, the idea is to then move forward enough to clip out of bounds, but we can't do that by simply walking, or we'll clip back in bounds, not out of bounds. So the idea is, okay, we're inside, now let's see what happens when we jump. How much further do I need to jump? No, I'm trying that again. Even if it's my last try. Remember to only move while jumping. Do not move while on the ground, or you will clip back in bounds. Once you glide, you will only fall into a flopping animation. That was close. Okay, let's try this again. Double jump, flop, and then move immediately. Well, I'm never gonna figure it out in time. I may as well just keep moving on. There will be a giant boulder in front of the store, and money bags on the paywall telling you how to head bash. You can dodge that. The starting point is up there. You just have to make your way over here. And double jump up here. Then, over there. Then on top of this. Yep. Oh, God. And then on top of the wall. That is a very thin jump. That is a very thin margin to jump. This portal leads Dragon Shores, opens after you delete Ripto. And you immediately find yourself there after deleting him. The minimum amount... There's a problem though. The minimum amount of orbs needed to see Ripto are 32. But when you get to Dragon Shores, it's a tease. You need 48 orbs to get in. I'm going to tell you how to dodge both of those. See that section over there? That platform? We're going to double jump and glide over there right now. Here's exactly where he needs to land. Here. That water isn't really water. It's solid land. It's lying. We're about to jump back here. We're about to jump out of here and fly out of bounds. But we need to see where we're going to see where the portal is. Just remember how locked portals work. Again, when they're locked, they are stored under their arches. So I can't get to Dragon Shores like this because the portal is unlocked. At this point, I'm just telling you where to fly. Am I going the wrong way? It was somewhere down there. I'll check and try again later. I'll just check and try again later. There is very much a problem here. A clear and present problem. In order to speedrun this game, you have to be able to perform every trick the first time and every time consistently. All I recorded was information to look over later. Information that no one else on Earth even needs. My attempts at explaining those glitches and tricks, regardless of how garbage they were, most certainly beat what I found on Speedrun.com. Specifically concerning Gulp Skip, 3 people have submitted videos attempting to explain it. Emphasis on attempting to. One of the videos doesn't exist, but exactly 0 of them do their job. That is, very much like me, they don't get the job done. They try, they even come close, but they never get there. They don't succeed. But let's give them the benefit of the doubt. See, it's not entirely their fault. They just know these glitches and tricks naturally. That is, no matter how hard they try, they will never be able to explain these glitches and tricks correctly. Take your native language, the language you were raised to speak. Try to explain to a non-native how to speak your language. Ask them to try the same thing with their language. I guarantee you're going to run into problems. Ask me what a predicate is. Ask me about general guidelines for conjugating verbs. Ask me which verbs happen to break these rules. Ask me about the order of consonants and vowels, and in which cases they apply. I guarantee you, I will never be able to explain it correctly. I guarantee you, it would be the same as asking me how to solve a Rubik's Cube. But why? This is because the language I was raised with is natural to me. I don't need an explanation as to how to use my language. I, for whatever reason, mainly due to being raised with it, know it automatically. The same thing applies to speedrunning. All those expert speedrunners, all those community members, they share a common trait. When it comes to glitching and tricking through video games, the act is natural to them. They see what they need to do, and they just do it. So, those 2 people who try to explain a glitch, the 2 whose videos are still up by the way, it'll work. It'll work perfectly. For fellow speedrunners. But for anyone new, anyone who isn't an avid speedrunner, anyone who isn't a community member, someone from the opposite side of the internet trying to pick up a new hobby, someone who was amazed at all the videos of people doing things like this, they will not have a single clue as to what is being talked about. But this is probably all just me. See, I look at the leaderboards and think, wow, they were absolutely right. Maybe I do need to just practice. Look at all these maybe part-time, full-time students or employees who can pick this up, no problem. See, I don't blame them for behaving the way they did, specifically towards me. I don't blame them for their treatment, any more than their responses. Let's step away from the fact that they can very much explain glitches and tricks to fellow members of their community and hobby, to people just like them, to people who also glitch and trick through video games. Let's step away from the fact that they can't explain glitches and tricks to non-naturals. Let's look at these leaderboards for a moment here. Specifically, and for the time being, let's look at one of these leaderboards, the Spyro 2 leaderboard. All these times, ranging from 15 minutes all the way up to 7 and change, tell me one specific thing. It is very much just me. But, despite the fact that they are absolutely correct, that it takes nothing but practice, they seem to be less overlooking, more simply plain old missing one specific detail that doesn't apply to me. My ineptitude, my incompetence, it's all just me. They seem to think I learn the same way everyone else on this planet does. I'd explain not only that they are wrong, but how, but whether now or years ago, it is a complete waste of time. Which brings me out of that stupidly long segue into the next point. I'm going to take the time to teach people how to play this game. I'm going to take the time to teach people how to speedrun it 100% without gulp skip. Now, very clearly, someone else had already done this before, but there's a problem with this. Look at the leaderboard. You can choose which leaderboards you can see. There, I'll let you see the rest. But as you might have noticed, there's a category missing here. A category that specifically matches the purpose of the guide I referred to. Yeah, that's right. I'm in fact referring to 100% no gulp skip. It's not there. I assume this is because everyone on Earth knows how to perform gulp skip. Everyone except me anyway. I'm going to have to put up with that. There's no helping that. And so, after I'm done recording the instructions for this, of course I'm going to share it with everyone. And I'm going to make very clear that gulp skip is very much possible, and that if they want to learn how, they shouldn't ask me. Instead, they should ask everyone who knows, and I will even tell them where to look. But make no mistakes, it won't be just Spyro 2. There are a bunch of games on this list. It just so happens to be that, while I'm very much incompetent when it comes to glitches and tricks, the same way I'm incompetent with socializing, both of those facts reach their peak not just with competitive communities, not just with speedrunning communities, but in particular, for whatever reason, it reaches its peak with Sprash Fecta. All these games, again, use cycles. So if you don't catch that first cycle, you lose. End of story. And I hope those speedrunners get asked a bunch. I hope everyone and their grandmothers ask them what gulp skip is. I hope everyone asks them how to do it. But I hope they don't try too hard to explain it. See, again, they only know it naturally, so they will never be able to explain it properly. That is to say, I'm pretty sure that they, with all their connections, with all their clout, would surely find someone who isn't natural in order to explain it for them. Someone who definitely isn't me, by the way. They just know better by this point. And understandably. But otherwise, the only people who will know how to perform gulp skip are the community members themselves. Don't get any ideas. What you're seeing didn't fit in anywhere else in this video. So basically, it's tacked on. But it is to say, things involving what you're seeing here are very much in the works. Just that, it won't involve motion capture. No, it won't, because between CG Tinker's add-on, Blendar mocap, giving less than perfect results that overall require a lot of editing, and any alone negate the fact that I was trying to avoid editing in the first place, and Kaleido Face 3D, which most definitely isn't perfect, by the way, but despite the fact that it functions, gives inaccurate tracking, my overall decision was to just rage quit the whole thing. Nope, the mocap scene isn't ready yet. I'm gonna sit and wait. Sit and wait for the mocap scene to mature. Sit and wait while doing other things. Sit and wait while doing everything else. That's basically as simple as it gets. I could in fact go into details of the problem with all this software, but it would ultimately prove utterly pointless. So instead, I'm just gonna do it manually. Not the mocap, no. See, that would actually take forever. Not unlike the video option on Blendar mocap. I'm not lying when I say that. I put in a 5-minute and change video, walked away, and then came back. I still did other things, and after 2+ hours it was still rendering. Pro tip, until the video option is fixed, just use stream. No. Instead, I'm going to use manual poses. Why? Because with the NLA editor, I can chain and otherwise combine those poses into plausible animations. In fact, I could make animations outside the NLA editor. It doesn't have to be just poses, but the result is very much the same. You could chain them together in any number of ways, which I am definitely prepared to explain how.